This bag is a lot bigger. This is a 511 Rush 72, which holds a ton of gear. I haven't switched yet to my spring summer bag, which is really only 15 to 18 pounds. This one is about 35 pounds. It's pretty heavy, but this has a lot of things that I need if I get stuck somewhere out in the middle of nowhere and it's very cold. We'll go through the bag by each compartment and I'll show you guys what I have in my personal bag. What you guys might carry might be a lot different than what I carry. Might be a lot different than a lot of other people carry. What's important is that you understand how to use the gear, that you buy quality gear, and that you make sure you're not buying stuff that's going to fail in the field and you don't know it until you get out there. Of course, a single wall stainless steel bottle. This is the Pathfinder bottle and cup set. This is an amazing set. I love it. Use it all the time. This bag is more of my travel bag that I take with me in the winter. I don't normally do a lot of outdoor activity with the gear in this bag. I have other bags for that. I have other gear that I keep in different packs. I love this axe. This is a Holtzbruck axe. This is the Holtzbruck hatchet, technically. This is an amazing axe. I love it. It's got a really nice balance. It cuts well. I keep it sharpened. I have a sharpener I'll show you in a minute. Big fan of the Holtzbruck. I think the Grand Forts, or however you say that name, are pretty similar to these. I don't know a lot about Council tools, but I hear they have great axes as well. Again, you may not have the same brand. As long as it's high quality, it's good enough. Next up, everybody has a favorite knife. Some people carry multiple knives. I love the Mora Garberg. This is the Mora Garberg Carbon Black. This is an excellent knife for survival, bushcraft. I love the leather sheath. I wouldn't get the Kydex sheath because it's really not that good. They break fairly easily. I just don't like them. I like the leather sheath. It's a lot more high quality. In the wintertime, if you use the Grail, something like the Grail GeoPress or the Sawyer Mini or whichever other filter that has a membrane, if it gets wet and it freezes in extreme temperatures, they've tested them. They say that they won't crack until at least a few freeze thaws, but I don't want to take the chance. If the membrane cracks in your filter, you may not know it. You may get bad water. I love the Grail. And Pathfinder came out with a cup with a Grail nest inside of it. Also in here, I'm not going to take it out, but I have a Camelback bladder. Some people don't like them. Some people say they crack. I've never had an issue with a Camelback before. I have some paste beads. These are for navigation. I also have a signal kit. This is a Signal Mini. It's got a whistle, some reflectives. There's a lot of different things in here. You know, fluorescent thumbtacks you can put in the trees. I also have this Viz Tactical. This is a headlamp. This is an excellent headlamp. It runs off AA batteries. I love this thing. I always keep an IFAK. I believe this is the MFAK. Comes with some trauma shears. This particular kit comes with decompression needles, nasopharyngeal, comes with gloves, comes with a Cat 7, Gen 7 cat tourniquet. Be careful if you're getting tourniquets, especially online from places you're not sure about. A lot of the tourniquets will look like one of these cat tourniquets, but they're made in China. They're not made well. They're not really tested, and they're fake. If you're paying less than $30 to $35 for a tourniquet like this, say you're paying $15 or $20, it's not good. You don't want to buy that. It's a piece of crap made in a country that doesn't care. This also comes with chest seals. There are 2 chest seals in here. These are compact chest seals. Entry and exit wound. You can also use the packaging itself. They taught that in the TCCC course, that if you need more than a couple chest seals for multiple injuries, you can use the package with some tape if need be. It also comes with S-rolled gauze. This is basically packing gauze. If you have a wound that's not an arterial bleed, or it's a slow bleed, or it's in an area that you can't put a tourniquet on, you're going to pack the wound with gauze, and then typically you're going to wrap it in an Israeli pressure dressing. These are excellent to have. So this is the MFAK. It's pretty small, pretty compact, but it has most of the stuff you need. I have another Gen 7 cat tourniquet in one of the tourniquet holders. This is kind of what I would call a boo-boo kit. This is essentially, I actually have some camp soap in here, some hand sanitizer. I'm not even sure when I put that in there. Has gloves. This is basically band-aids, bandages, not typically massive trauma, but more general first aid. I think I got this pouch maybe $20. It's very cheap. I don't remember the brand. I don't remember where I got it, but it was it served me well. Never had any issues with it. This is how I keep my axe sharp. This is a puck, sharpening puck. I also keep leather for leather stropping. So if I'm gonna make sure my knife is nice and sharp, I'm gonna use a normal sharpener. But most of the time, because I sharpen it all the time, I'm just gonna use leather and I'm gonna get it to a nice fine edge. And unless I've damaged the knife or I've gotten a burr on it, I don't usually have to do much more than use a leather strop to keep the knife sharp. A Sawyer micro squeeze, basically a Sawyer mini, just a newer version. This, they say, is good for 100,000 gallons. You really need to keep it back flush, which is what the plunger is for. Every time you use it, you want to get clean water and flush it out to make sure you extend the life of this filter. It comes with the squeeze bag as well as the straw. This is an Uberleben flat pack stove. Comes in a nice wax canvas case. I'm not going to put it together. This thing's seen a little bit of use, as you can see. This is a really nice compact folding stove. And I really love the wax canvas case, 550 parachute cord. Never go without paracord. I have a Thompson snare. I thought I had more of these in here, but apparently I only have one. Generally, when you're snaring, you want to set as many traps as you can, up to half a dozen to a dozen, because unlike what you might see in the movies sometimes, you're not going to catch small game with one snare, generally speaking, unless you get really lucky. A lot of guys will say, hey, you know what? Just wipe your butt in the woods if you got to go to the bathroom. I still like to carry a little bit of toilet paper because you don't poop in the woods all the time. I'm still not really used to doing it. Most of the time we're out, we're doing film shoots, we're out for a couple days. I still want to have toilet paper, I'm sorry. Sometimes a couple lighters isn't always going to be what you're going to use. You might have issues. It might be too cold. It might be pouring rain. Bic lighters are amazing. Of course, this should be your primary source to light a fire. Don't waste your time making a bow drill. It's going to take you forever. You got to know the right materials. It takes technique. Of course you want lighters. It's the easiest way to do it, especially in a survival situation. You're not going to be crafting all kinds of bushcraft stuff. Use a lighter. My second favorite, the ferro rod. This is in Uberleben Craftig, I believe. This is an 8" by 1/2 inch. This is a monster rod. I love this for the winter because it's easier to use if you have big gloves on, super cold. This is amazing to use. I have a backup in here. This is another Uberleben Craftig, but this is the 5" version of it. I actually forgot this was in here. This is in Uberleben. This is a necklace by Uberleben that has a scraper and a very small ferro rod on the end. Not something you really need to carry, but it's a pretty cool item. Of course, stormproof matches. These will light under any condition. You could light them, put them in a cup of water, and it'll still keep burning, and when you pull it out, you'll still have a flame. Love these stormproof matches. These are candle tin. This is a 4-hour nano candles. It comes with 3 different candles in here. These are pretty handy. And I have the candle tin 6-hour hot burn. This is also really nice. And one of my recent favorites by Uberleben is this. This has a bellow and a wick that you can light. This will burn for a really long time. You can light the end. You can put it out, save it for later. This is amazing if you're trying to get a fire lit and you have subpar materials, or you're just trying to do it without using a ton of matches or wasting lighter fluid, or maybe it's windy and the lighter isn't working very well. Like this, get your fire going. You have a lot more time. This will burn for a significant amount of time. And of course, I love to keep fat wood shavings. These are also excellent. Keep them in a nice tin in case I need to make char cloth. I can use this tin to make char cloth. All right, so silky saw. This is the Silky Gone Boy. I use this one a lot. I think there's 2 extra blades in here. These blades last a really long time. Most of the Silkies, with the exception of some that you can resharpen the teeth, you can't really sharpen some of them, but they last an incredibly long time. You can cut an insane amount of wood with one silky saw blade. This is a Snugpak SF Bivy. This is a bivy sack that will go on the outside of your sleeping bag, or let's say you have some other type of, sleeping gear. You can just use the bivy sack if you'd like. It's waterproof. It's really excellent. You want to make sure you get the SF Bivy. The Bivy that's not the SF version is not that good. It's a little bit tighter, and it doesn't have, I don't think it has the zip portion that helps you get in and out faster. This is just a much better product. This is the Helicon poncho. I've been using a different brand. I've been using Miltech lately. I have a Miltech poncho in my other. The Helicon and the Miltech ponchos, aside from the old school GI ponchos where you can snap 2 together and make a makeshift shelter, the Helicon and the Miltech ponchos are the only other brands that I've ever found where you can do that with 2 of these ponchos. Love this thing. It's really amazing. Wrap up in this, keep nice and warm. This is more of a spring, summer kind of thing, but if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have a sleeping bag, which I usually don't carry one with me when I'm away, I usually keep a wool blanket, one of these, a wool blanket. 100% wool is what you're looking for. 100% virgin wool is excellent. These are heavy. In the winter, I keep an ice fishing sled that's not that big. It's, maybe 4 feet long by about 2 feet wide. And I have a really good pulling rope with it. Because in the winter, I have other things. I have a really nice canvas tarp. I have some winter clothes, boots. I have other gear. I have an old John Pack bed sleeve. I have a bunch of things that don't fit in this pack that I may need if I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere, especially if it's in snow country. So I like to pull everything in the sled. It's a lot easier than carrying the pack on your back. But a wool blanket works well in every season, and I recommend that everyone have one. This is the Pathfinder Bush Pot. This is great for rendering fat. It's got a lot of uses beyond just your regular bottle and cup set, and I also keep items inside to save more space. This is another sharpening stone. I have some DEET, because bugs are a real bastard. I have more bug spray. Lotrimin, in case you need it for your feet. I have some extra batteries. I have some spider wire. This is fishing line. This is really good fishing line. It's excellent. And of course, never go without a yo-yo. This helps for passive fishing, so you don't have to actively be there with a pole. You can set this, and then when it catches the fish, it'll reel back up on its own. I love this bush pot. Anyone who says that you'll survive 30 days without eating hasn't tried to do it when they're on the move, when they're hiking, when they're expending calories, when it's too cold, when it's too hot. Generally speaking, your energy is going to get sapped if you're not eating at least every few days. I like to keep one of these SOS emergency ration packs. This is 3,600 calories. Just enough to get home, especially if it might take me a few days, even possibly a week. I should be able to survive with an emergency ration. I'm not going to try to travel 10, 15, 20 miles without food, because you will not last long. There's a lot that has to go in, that goes into it. You have to be in good shape. You have to have plenty of water. It's not as simple as, 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 30 days without, or 3 weeks without food. It's not that simple, and it never has been. You could go 3 days without water in ideal circumstances. If you're sweating, if you're doing things that are making you dehydrated faster, you could die in a day. You could die in extreme heat even faster than that. So those are just guidelines. Always remember that. You always want to keep some type of food ration in any pack that you're going to have to try to get home. Bank line. This is number 36 twisted tarred bank line. This is excellent for holding a superb knot. It's better than paracord. You get a lot more in the spool. I love paracord for a bunch of different applications, but I really love bank line for so many other applications that paracord is just not as good for. A shemagh, a lot of uses for a shemagh, so I always keep one in the pack. Maps of the areas that I'm in. So right now I'm in New Hampshire. So I have a New Hampshire map, a Vermont map, and a New England map. Paper maps, waterproof, in case I need them. I also have a SAM splint. This is excellent if you get a mechanical injury like your knee or something happens and you break a bone. A SAM splint is a must-have. I have just a standard emergency blanket just in case. Some tent stakes, really more for the canvas tarp that I have in the back. I have some extra straps. This helps me hold stuff down in the sled. I have this Garmin GPS that goes on your wrist. It's excellent. I also keep, I don't think it's here, I think I'm charging it somewhere. I have a Garmin 64 ST, that's another handheld GPS. I also, not in the pack, usually this is in a separate pack. That's my communications bag. I have the satellite phone, this is the Inmarsat satellite phone. This is excellent. Now remember, this isn't all for bugging out. This is for standard emergencies or if you're off grid. I also have a satellite messenger. This is the bivy stick they call it. It pairs to your phone and you can send messages through satellite. You can get the unlimited plan and send as many text messages as you want. And I also keep, I got this one on Amazon. I have a couple better versions, but this folds out to be a solar panel and this will charge my phone about at least 7 to 10 times. One time I think I might have charged my phone every day for a week and a half with this. And you can charge this in your regular power or by solar. By solar, it takes a lot longer. So charge it up before you go and you can have backup battery power for whatever you might need. It's got the waist strap, so it kind of helps keep the weight off your shoulders. And it also has a strap in the front that holds it together so it's not going to slip off your shoulders.